Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we are doing quite a big video, so apologies if this video is quite long, but yeah, I'm really excited to film this because I'm doing a Target book collection video. On my channel I think I've done about 3 of these already. Some of them are on private now because there's really no point watching them if they're a couple of years out of date. But I've got so many Target books since my last one, so I thought why not just show them off. I'll show you a photo of what my Target book collection looked like a year ago, just to compare what it looks like today. So yeah, my Target book collection has grown quite significantly since. So today we're just going to be showing you my updated Target book collection and going through every book and if I've read it and what my thoughts on them are, etc, etc. So without further ado, let's begin at the beginning. So kicking off the Target book collection, we have An Unearthly Child, a great book. Not that I've read it because I did get to one very recently, but it's a lovely one to have. Relatively rare, I would say. You can get it for about a tenner. I think I paid about £6 for this, but very good. The Daleks, one of the sort of OG Target books. You know, it's got that classic cover there. I believe it's the first edition as well, which is just excellent. Next we have Marco Polo. So the only one I'm missing from season 1 is The Age of Destruction. That is quite a hard one to get your hands on. But Marco Polo, I have read this one and it is a fabulous read. I think it's the only missing story I've actually read, which is surprising. However, I do hope to read some more missing stories within the coming months. But Marco Polo is a fabulous one. I wish it was found. Next up we have The Keys of Marinus. I have read this one. It's a lovely one of my favourite stories from the 60s at least. And yeah, the Target book definitely lives up to the story. It's got an interesting cover as well with just the TARDIS. Next we have The Aztecs. Now this is one that I'd love to read because I think The Aztecs might be one of my favourite Hartnells, definitely in my top 3. It's really grown on me over the years. It's got a fabulous cover. I mean, the artwork is just stunning on that. Next up we have The Sensorites. Yeah, this is one of my oldest Target books I've had. I think I got this one a few years ago. Not a great story, but a lovely cover, and who knows, I might get round to reading this one day. This book is fantastic. It's The Reign of Terror. This is a lovely classic Target book cover. It's even been the inspiration for the DVD cover, I believe. And it's by Ian Marter, which is interesting. Again, it's quite a thick one, but hopefully I'll get round to reading this one day, as it is a great story. Next up we have The Dalek Invasion of Earth, a lovely one. I mean, the cover is just superb, definitely inspired more by the Peter Cushing movie, I'd say, rather than sort of the actual TV story, but it's still fabulous. This one is probably my pride and joy of the entire collection now. The Rescue, which I can't even speak today, which arrived very recently. It's the newest addition to my Target book collection, and I'm so overjoyed to have this one. It's such a hard one to get hold of, and for 12 quid I am not complaining when this usually goes for about triple the price, if not quadruple. Next up we have The Romans. Again, this is a really lovely one. I love these sort of Target books that do Target books a little bit differently, as this is written very differently. It's sort of in a diary format, which is certainly interesting. Next up we have Doctor Who and the Zarbi. Again, a good one. A bit of a shame this one isn't a first edition. Maybe I will replace this one day. It's one of the thickest Target books, actually. You can't really tell from this angle, but it's very good. The Crusaders, a lovely one. I was so close to reading this one a few months ago, but I think I chose Marco Polo over it, actually. But this one I'm really looking forward to reading. I've watched the stuff on Lost in Time, and it's a great little historical. The Space Museum, again, this is a brilliant one. It's in perfect condition as well. I've always rambled on about how much I love the Space Museum as a story, and as a Target book it should be really good when I eventually get round to reading it. Moving on, we have The Chase, another really lovely Target book in excellent condition, and what a cover on that. Definitely one of the sillier stories, but a really good one. I really enjoy The Chase. Next up we have The Time Meddler, again in excellent condition, because I bought this one from the Who Won website, which is such a brilliant place for Target books. They used to do them very cheap, not so much anymore, but the delivery was pretty much like next day, and the condition of the books is fantastic. So big shout out to Who Won for Target books there. But this is a lovely one. Next up we have Galaxy 4 kicking off season 3. Yeah, I haven't read this one, it is a missing story, but I've heard this one quite a while, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one actually, because it's a story I don't know a lot about. I believe this one might be getting the animation treatment soon as well. This is a brilliant one, Mission to the Unknown, aka the Daleks Master Plan Part 1, as it says in the corner and on the spine. This one's quite a tricky one to get hold of as well, so I was really chuffed to get this one for about a tenner as well. So lovely, so lovely. Again, it's a shame that I haven't read as many of them as I should, because I have really just started ramping getting all the Target books in the recent months, so therefore I haven't really had the time, but I will be whizzing through these very soon. The Mythmakers, oh what a lovely one. This one is written from the perspective of a Trojan soldier, I believe, so that's really interesting, but again, what a cover and such a lovely book. Next up we have The Mutation of Time, aka the Daleks Master Plan Part 2. Again, a tricky one to get hold of that I was very chuffed to get for about £11 as well. This is the next Hartnell I'll be reading, hopefully. So I'll give you my thoughts on that whenever I do get around to reading that, which should be soon. Next up we have The Massacre. Oh, what a lovely one. This I haven't read this one, but this is definitely high on the priority list because it's a story that has fascinated me. I love the cover as well. You've got sort of the two Hartnells there because of the doppelganger idea in it, and it's really good. Next up we have The Celestial Toymaker. What a lovely cover there. Again, a pretty difficult one to get hold of, but a lovely one nonetheless. We have The Gunfighters, again lovely. The War Machines by Ian Stewart Black, that's a lovely cover on that one. Might be my favourite Hartnell story. I can't wait to read this one, which is The Smugglers. Again, there are so many Hartnells and Troughtons that I just can't wait to read because of their missing origins, but this one's lovely. I love the cover on this one, definitely a great one. We have The 10th Planet, the first Cyberman adventure. Now going into the Troughton era, we have another recent pickup, which is The Highlanders. Yeah, I got this one about a week ago. Really looking forward to reading this one because it's quite short, and Jamie's first story, of course. Doctor Who and the Cybermen. Doctor Who and the Macra Terror, which is the next Troughton I believe I'll be reading. Again, quite a tricky one to get hold of. The Faceless Ones, this is quite an iconic one there. Can't wait to read that one as well because I love The Faceless Ones, it's such an underrated story. In season 5 now we have Tomb of the Cybermen, which is a lovely one, despite the Cyberman on the cover being totally inaccurate. The Abominable Snowmen, probably the Target book that I've had the longest, because I believe my dad had this one even before I was born, so this one's sort of been with me all my life really. Haven't read it, but he has, and he says it's a great one, so really looking forward to reading this one. Next up we have The Ice Warriors, a good one. The Enemy of the World, which has got such a lovely cover. Again, I have read this one, and it's a brilliant read. Definitely a standout from the Troughton era. The Web of Fear, a lovely one. Not the original cover, but I don't think I was even expecting to get this cover. Or maybe I was, I don't really remember. But yeah, good one. This one is a great one. Through from the Deep, a bumper edition. Got this one very recently, so I haven't read it, but the spine is very thick. I'll turn it around for you to see. You know, that was going to be such a good read whenever I get around to doing that. Kicking off season 6, we have The Dominators, a pretty poo story if I'm honest. The Mind Robber, again, such a creative cover which sort of reflects the story itself. The Invasion, oh, I can't wait to read this one. I've heard so many good things about this book. It's by Ian Marter, so it's bound to be sort of like a gruesome sort of twist, but yeah, really looking forward to reading The Invasion. The Crotons, a very good story. And finally, the War Games, which I have read, and it's brilliant. I was so fascinated about this book because it's a 10-part story condensed into quite a slim book. I think it's even about the same width as something like the Sontaran Experiment, and stories like the Black Orchid and the King's Demons are longer than the War Games, which is just crazy, isn't it? Kicking off the Pertwee era, we have Doctor Who and the Auton Invasion, again a classic book about Spearhead from space. Doctor Who and the Cave Monsters, this copy actually came from the Good Dalek, so thank you to the Good Dalek for sending me this. Inferno, such a brilliant book here. I have read this one as well. It's pretty much bog standard. Oh god, it's falling over. It's pretty much the bog standard story. However, it's such a great story. It's amazing. Terror of the Autons, a good one, with an interesting cover actually. I don't know if the cover is very reflective of the story, but I still think it's pretty good. The Mind of Evil, a very recent edition with the lovely looking Delgado on the front. The Claws of Axos with the crinoids on the front. We have the Doomsday Weapon, aka Colony in Space. And Doctor Who and the Daemons. These are all pretty old books now with their sort of big block logo. Season 9, Day of the Daleks. Again, this one is a pretty recent edition. I did have Day of the Daleks before, but it has since been changed to the OG sort of original Target book with the sort of colourful spine and the big blocked logo. The Curse of Peladon. Again, this one, the cover on this one is just superb. I believe it's Chris Achilleos who did the cover. And Doctor Who and the Sea Devils, I have read this one again, such a brilliant book. It definitely, the scale of it is so good. It's got a lovely green spine there. So yeah, big thumbs up for the Sea Devils. Next up we have The Mutants, again a pretty poor story. It's the only Target book to have sort of DR Who on the spine as opposed to Doctor Who, which is very odd. The Time Monster, again, such a lovely book. It's in pristine condition and it has a lovely, interesting cover. It's a very underrated story as well. The Three Doctors, Carnival of Monsters, Doctor Who and the Space War, aka Frontier in Space, Planet of the Daleks, we have a lovely cover there. And now I have two copies of The Green Death. This cover, which I believe is the original, which you can see there, it's a lovely one. And The Green Death with the sort of big fly. Season 11 now, we have The Time Warrior with a lovely looking Sontaran on the front. Doctor Who and the Dinosaur Invasion. Death to the Daleks. This is an iconic Target cover here. I think I bought it because of the cover a few years ago because it just popped. I'd love to see a poster of this artwork, clean artwork at least. Doctor Who and the Monster of Peladon. And finishing the Pertwee era, we have Planet of the Spiders. Next up we have Doctor Who and the Giant Robot, which obviously kicks off Tom Baker's era. Such a lovely book. Moving on, we have Doctor Who and the Ark in Space, which has got such a lovely iconic cover there as well, with a lovely yellow spine. It is about time I should probably mention I have a big streak going now from about, I think it started at Inferno. So I actually have every Target book from Inferno down to the Twin Dilemma, which is a big streak. So you'll be seeing every televised story in Target book form here. So continuing season 12, we have the Sontaran Experiment, which I'm really interested to read because it's quite a drawn out book, so it'd be quite interesting for a two-parter. Genesis of the Daleks, an iconic one there. And Revenge of the Cybermen. Kicking off season 13, we have Doctor and the Loch Ness Monster, aka Terror of the Zygons, with Tom's big floating head there. Planet of Evil. The Pyramids of Mars, which is in a nice sort of plastic case, which does happen to some Target books, but interesting that it's happened to that one. The Android Invasion, which I sort of recreated this photo of Tom the other day when I went to East Hagborn, which was where the Android Invasion was filmed. The Brain of Morbius, I've never really liked this cover because I just don't think it reflects the story at all. The Seeds of Doom, on the other hand, does have an excellent cover, and I've read this one as well, and it's a brilliant book, quite snappy and condensed because it is very thin for a 6-parter. The Mask of Mandragora, and a lovely cover there. The Hand of Fear, again a lovely one, apart from Tom. Tom doesn't look quite right on the cover, and I don't think Sarah Jane's costume is accurate either, but hey ho. The Deadly Assassin, now this cover, although I don't like the story much, it definitely does its job in reflecting the story. The Face of Evil, again a lovely cover in absolutely excellent condition, one of my oldest Target books that I've owned. The Robots of Death, possibly my thinnest Target book, an excellent story as well. The Talons of Weng-Chiang, my favourite story of all time, excellent cover, can't wait to read this one. The Horror of Fang Rock, such an excellent cover as well, probably this was also the inspiration for the DVD cover, I'd like to think. The Invisible Enemy, image of the Fendal with a funky sort of blue and yellow and green cover there. The Sunmakers with an excellent cover and an orange spine. Underworld. The Invasion of Time. Now kicking off the Key to Time era. The Reboss Operation. The New Pirate Planet, which is such an excellent read. I was so happy to read this one very soon. It's an excellent book. Can't really complain really. I believe the sort of bigger, fatter version does add more to the story, but this did an excellent job anyway. The Stones of Blood. The Androids of Tara, with an excellent cover there. I'm just finding it hard to get these back in the shelf. There we go. The Power of Kroll. And finally the Armageddon Factor, which does have one of my favourite covers. I just think it's so detailed there, and Tom looks brilliant, and so does Mary Tam. God, they won't go in today, will they? There we go. Kicking off season 17, we have Destiny of the Daleks, and a lovely one. City of Death. And Creature from the Pit with a lovely red spine, although you can't really see it. Continuing our Target book journey all the way down the end here, we have Nightmare of Eden. The Horns of Nimon. I've had this one quite a while as well, actually. Doctor Who and the Leisure Hive, which is the story I'm currently watching, actually. It's okay from memory. Meglos, a lovely cover there with Tom looking very spiky. Full Circle. State of Decay with a very interesting pink neon logo there. This is a Target book that I'm actually very keen to read. And Warrior's Gate. Oh, won't go in again. There we go. Next up we have The Keeper of Traken with Nissa looking absolutely lovely there. We have Logopolis with its blue spine edition actually, with all the companions there looking very lovely. Now entering the 5th Doctor era, we do have Castrovalva again, which is one I've had for many years. Forward to Doomsday. Kinder. This is where the covers get a little bit basic and boring, I'd say. Although, saying that, the next two are very good. The Visitation with an excellent cover there. I chose the blue spine version over the original just because, I mean, it was a no-brainer really. And Black Orchid, which again is a lovely, lovely cover. Such an interesting one, and definitely makes a change from the sort of basic covers that from the Davison era, such as Earthshock, which again is very basic. Time Flights, again, pretty neutral. Arc of Infinity, which I've read. Again, it's a very good novelisation. Nothing too special going on with the story or the cover, to be honest. Snake Dance, This is an interesting, weird sort of time where they've decided to put Davison in the logo, which is certainly interesting. Mordred Undead. Terminus, quite a thick book actually, Terminus. Enlightenment, again the return of Davison in the logo. One of the only Target books to be written by a woman, Barbara Clegg. Doctor Who, The King's Demons, again this one is very thick, which I mentioned earlier. The Five Doctors with that very shiny logo there. You can't really make it out, but you have got Hartnell, Pertwee, Troughton, Baker and Davison in the sort of blue rectangle. Warriors of the Deep. The Awakening with a very interesting, ominous looking cover there. Frontios. The new Resurrection of the Daleks, which I've heard sort of mixed things about. Yeah, definitely not in a hurry to read this, I'd say. Planet of Fire. The Caves of Androzani. Now moving into the Colin Baker era, the Twin Dilemma. Now our big streak has just ended because I don't actually have Attack of the Cybermen, so moving on to Vengeance on Varos. The Mark of the Rani, with the Rani looking very in disguise there. The Two Doctors with another shiny golden logo. First edition, wow. The 100th Target book Doctor Who novel. There we go. Time Lash, a very interesting story to say the least. And Revelation of the Daleks, which I have read very recently, and it's pretty good. I was quite impressed with this actually. I believe on the general consensus is that this is more entertaining than Resurrection of the Daleks, but hey, I really enjoyed this one actually. Moving on again, we're in the sort of home stretch now. Trial of Time Lord, Terror of the Vervoids. I don't have The Mysterious Planet or Mind Warp yet, but yeah, I have Terror of the Vervoids, and I also have The Ultimate Foe, which is two lovely stories. Kicking off the McCoy era with their brilliant season 24. Time and the Rani. I'm not too keen on this cover, it does look a little bit odd in places. Paradise Towers with a very lovely cover there. Struggling to go back in. There we go. The Brilliant Delta and the Bannermen. And Dragonfire with another lovely cover there. Kicking off season 25, we have Remembrance of the Daleks with a grey and pink spine, which is an interesting choice. The Happiness Patrol. Silver Nemesis, which is lovely with another blue and white spine. The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. I have read this one. I read it in about 2 nights actually, which is pretty good for my standards, and it's a really good novelisation. The only McCoy I'm missing is Battlefield. It is actually due to arrive, but it's kind of been lost in the post somewhere. So hopefully I'll have that soon, or maybe get a refund, or I don't know. But it's a shame that that hasn't arrived because it would have been a lovely book to have. But hopefully I'll have that soon. Ghostlight with an excellent cover, one of my favourites. The Curse of Fenric, really looking forward to reading this one actually, because it seems like such an interesting novel. It's very thick as well, but that'll be interesting to read, I think. I'll zoom in a few a little bit, or try and zoom in a few. There you go. As we get to the final stretch, we have Survival, which I finished reading a couple of weeks ago. A very interesting novelisation. I believe it does expand on the TV story a little bit, so if you're a big fan of Survival, then by all means go ahead and buy this one. The TV movie by Gary Russell, a very interesting one. Haven't read it yet, but I'm so intrigued because I'm a big fan of the movie, I'd say. So giving it a read in Target form will be very interesting. Continuing on to the new series, I don't have many new series books, but I have Rose, which I have read, and it's such a brilliant one. It's made me fall in love with the story all over again, really. Really good, really impressed, such a brilliant novel. And Dalek, which as you can probably see has a bookmark in it, which indicates that I'm currently reading this one at the moment. And I'm about halfway through, and it's very good. It's very different to the sort of TV story. It's a pretty Marmite book, I'd say, so far. You either love it or you hate it. I'm saying that, I'm kind of in the middle at the moment, but hopefully by the end of the book I will formulate a solid opinion on it. But it's pretty good so far. And Twice Upon a Time, which I have read, but I read it years ago, so I don't really remember too much, but it was pretty good from what I remember. Just a very solid story. Is that Bill from Thin Ice? I've just noticed. That kind of looks like her Thin Ice costume. I might be wrong. And finally, we've reached the end. This isn't really a target book to finish on, but it still counts, I suppose. The Library of Time, which came in a Doctor Who magazine a few months ago to sort of advertise the new batch of books. It's kind of redundant now that I have sort of Pirate Planet, Resurrection, Revelation, Dalek movie. I just haven't got the Witchfinders of the Crimson Horror yet. But hey ho, you know, look at us, we've got there in the end. Yay! So there you go everyone, that was the target book collection for September 2021. Thank you all very, very much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, because I love reading your comments. So there we go guys, thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next video, whenever that may be. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.